Hello, boys and girls. I'm Greg from the Scary Spirits podcast. Today I'm going to show you how to make the holy water cocktail. We're going to start with a rocks glass with ice. We're going to add 2 ounces of vodka. Then we're going to add 1 ounce of triple sec. I'm using Cointreau, which is classified as a triple sec. And it's good. 1 ounce. Then we're going to add 1 ounce light rum. Next, we're going to fill the glass with tonic water. So, and then we add a dash of grenadine. Delicious. And there you go. That's all there is to it. Yeah, I dig it. And as you probably know, the cool thing about using tonic water, especially for a Halloween drink or a Halloween party, is that it illuminates under black fluorescent light. So, there you go. Pretty cool, huh, kids? Enjoy. Thanks for listening. See ya.
Spiky mullets, tight spandex, and loads of leather. Dangling earrings on sexy vampire boys who jingle when they walk. Loud rock bands with shirtless oiled-up sax players. Neon lights, boho skirts, and big permed hair. This movie couldn't be any more 80s, and I love every minute of it. Episode 19 of the Scary Spirits podcast, The Lost Boys, explores the fight between good and evil, with evil clearly winning the fashion battle. Enjoy.
Welcome to the Scary Spirits podcast. Please be advised that the presenters may use adult language and or discuss adult situations. This podcast is not intended for younger listeners or those that may be easily offended. So if you're ready, let's go.
Hi, I'm Greg.
And I'm Karen.
And welcome to the Scary Spirits podcast, the podcast that combines the two very different but highly compatible worlds of scary films and alcoholic spirits.
What could possibly go wrong?
Indeed. Sometimes things do go wrong, Karen.
Not very often, though.
Sometimes.
Okay.
How are you, Karen?
I'm awesome. How are you?
I'm okay.
Same old, same old.
One of these days, I'm going to surprise you, though.
I'm waiting with anticipation. Maybe. Yeah, I don't think so.
So, Karen, I believe today's film was your choice, was it? Was it not?
It was.
And what film have you chosen to subject us to this week?
The 1987 film, The Lost Boys.
1987,
Mm-hmm.
you say.
I do.
Do you remember 1987, Karen?
I do.
How was that for you?
It's a good time.
Yeah, I think it probably was for me as well. It's a little hazy. Why might you have chosen this film, Karen? Do you know?
Because it's cool.
It is cool.
Is there another reason? Is there another reason I chose it?
Well, you know, the person who directed this film, Joel Schumacher, his birthday is August 29th, which is just a few days before this episode goes live. So
okay,
there
but
is
the
that.
movie's cool.
Is the movie cool, or is the fashion cool, or are the boys cool? Which is it?
It's all of it.
Okay.
I forgot how much I liked this movie. Did you watch it and didn't like it as much as the first time?
Probably not as much as the first time. Nope. But whatever. That's fine. Karen, might you have a brief synopsis of this film?
I do. Are you ready for it? It's very
Yes.
brief. Okay.
Yes.
A teenager and his family moved to the coastal California town where he fears his older brother has fallen in with a pack of vampires. Accurate.
Yeah, it's accurate. Do we have a cocktail?
We do.
What pray tell may it be?
This cocktail is called holy water.
That must be why it burns so bad when I drink it.
Are you smoking?
My throat is on fire.
There you go. Well, it's a mixed drink recipe from Cocktail Builder. I thought I was being extra clever because it's not any type of vampire.
Yeah, it's
drink.
not like a blood or vampire's kiss or.
No.
Yeah.
A little more obscure, but still very appropriate. You want to know how to make it?
Yes, I want to know what's in it and how do we make it, even though I've already done it. And that's why it burns.
You did it on YouTube?
I did.
Everyone can watch Greg make every drink every week on YouTube.
Yes.
To make holy water, you're going to need 2 ounces of vodka, 1 ounce of triple sec, 1 ounce of light rum, 1 dash of grenadine syrup, and tonic water. You're going to combine the alcohol in a rocks glass over ice. Fill with tonic water, then add 1 dash of grenadine. Be sure the drink is served with the tonic still bubbling.
I might have put a couple dashes grenadine in mine.
I put a little extra ice in mine.
I did too.
It's very strong.
No, I don't think it's strong. It doesn't burn. So
you just said it burned.
That was just me being funny.
Oh, is that what that was?
Yes.
So I should just ignore the smoke coming out of your ears?
Yes, you should. It's
Awesome.
fine. I like it, actually.
All right. Well, let's give the people time to gather the ingredients.
Hold on. And we're back.
We are. I just wanted to say a shout out to Stacy and Denise. I went with my friends to New Orleans, and we actually had a drink called holy water, served to us by Father John in a bar that none of us can remember the name of because we drank too much holy water. But we all remember that the bathroom key was attached to a toilet seat, and you had to carry that to unlock the door. It was not this drink, but it was similar to this drink. It was a secret recipe, Father John said. And we were on a tour of scandalous New Orleans when we obtained this.
Okay.
So there you go. There are lots of recipes for holy water.
Was it better or worse than this recipe, or do you even remember, Karen?
Well, I remember it was a warm day and the drink was very refreshing. That's about all I remember. Okay. And we went back a second time the next day because we enjoyed it so much.
Good. I did make a note in the and even demonstrated in the YouTube video that a fun thing about this drink is that since it uses tonic water, if you hit it with a black light, it glows.
Ooh, you did that on YouTube?
Yes, I did.
Oh, how exciting.
Yeah. So if you're having a Halloween party or something, I mean, it is coming up.
For
Just a
people
few
like
short
us, it
weeks.
is.
Yeah. And you have like black lights all over your party room. This drink will glow.
So don't spill it on your white shirt or everyone
And
will
if you
know.
really, really want to make it cool, get some dry ice and put a little piece in there.
Ooh.
Then it will glow and smoke. And your party guests will be amazed.
Which is what we all want.
Yeah. You want to entertain your guests, right? All right, Karen, are we ready to get into it? The Lost Boys from 1987, directed by Joel Schumacher.
Do you remember, did you see it in the movie theater?
I did not.
I can't remember. I was trying to figure it out. It's 1987. I think it was my last year of college. So I was poor. So probably didn't see it in the theater. Maybe I rented it at Blockbuster.
I'm pretty sure I saw it on cable once again.
After the escape from the parents'
after
basement.
the escape.
Okay.
Are you ready to get into it?
Let's go.
All right. So the movie opens with credits.
Yay.
But then we have little vignettes we can watch in between the credits. Because then there's a carousel. And here I've written Kiefer Sutherland walking along the carousel.
Well, it opens with them with the view flying over the
boardwalk.
water to the boardwalk. So how did they do that pre-drone?
No idea.
You know,
Probably
because
a helicopter.
Oh, I guess. But the boardwalk looks like Santa Cruz to me.
It is Santa Cruz, Karen.
Oh, is it?
Yes. It was filmed in Santa Cruz. There is no place as Santa Carla.
When I lived in California, there was Santa Cruz and San Carlos. So I kept tripping over this Santa Carla because both of those places were fairly close to me. I only went to Santa Cruz once.
And so Kiefer Sutherland is walking along the carousel along with Bill from Bill and Ted.
Right. And I call him Bill from Bill and Ted through the whole thing too. It's his posse.
Actor's name is Alex Winter. And
Yes.
his character's name is Marco. It's Bill from Bill and Ted.
It is. So you have to picture this. They're all in leather. I mean, leather dusters, leather everything. And at first I was like, what's going on? Because it's summertime and they're all in leather, you know, and I'm thinking.
You were thinking this the first time you saw it?
No, the first time I see them in the film, they're all in leather and it's summer. And I thought that's crazy. But then I realized they're vampires.
You have seen this. You've seen this before.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So they're cold. You know, they can wear this and they jingle when they walk because they have so much zipper and metal and okay, sorry. I just love the fashion in this movie.
I like some of it.
Well, the vampire fashion.
So they're walking on the carousel and then a cop grabs Kiefer and tells him and the other boys that I told you to stay off the boardwalk.
Because Kiefer eyes a pretty girl on the carousel. And then a Tommy Lee lookalike tries to punch him.
Making a little shoving match.
So that draws the cop's attention.
Next
and
we see
mullets everywhere.
It was 1987.
Right.
I'm not even sure I still had mine by then. I think I was over it.
I don't know. We'll have to see.
Pretty sure I was. Next we see a deserted boardwalk and all the lights are shutting off. Cop is walking along.
The one who hassled them.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have an aerial view of the cop walking back to his car.
Which would be the vampires flying.
Correct.
Yes.
The view from the Lost Boys or the vampires. He looks up, sees them following or sees something following him from above, runs to his car, tries to get his car door open, but he don't make it. He's lifted into the sky and the car door is ripped off its hinges on the car.
And he screams.
He does.
Yeah.
Then we have more credits.
And wait, you got to say it.
What?
He's gone.
He gone.
Yeah. Before the movie even really starts, you should be happy.
Yeah. One death during the credits. More credits. Next, we see an old vehicle driving along. I wasn't quite sure what kind of vehicle it was at first, but I did figure it out. You know what kind of car that is? You know what I'm talking about, Karen?
No.
Hauling the little U-Haul trailer.
No, I have no idea.
You know what scene I'm talking about, though, right?
I do.
Yes. So it's a 1968 Toyota Land Cruiser. Any idea what one of those is worth today, Karen?
Crikey. I should start looking these up. But then it wouldn't be fun, would it? $22,500.
Not bad. You're a little low.
Okay.
That's pretty good. So the average retail today for a 1968 Toyota Land Cruiser is $28,800.
And what did you buy one for?
Brand new?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? In 1968, what could you have bought that
In
vehicle
1968. I was thinking 87. So 68.
You remember 1968, Karen?
No, I don't.
Yeah, it's all a blur to me too.
It was a very good year. 3,800.
That's pretty close again. $3,070.
Oh, not bad. Not bad.
Yeah, and they can go up to today. They can go up to, if they're really in good condition, really nice, 73,000.
Wow.
So this is the family we learn is moving from Phoenix later, right?
Yeah, 2 brothers and a mom and a dog.
And they pass a sign that says, "Welcome to Santa Carla." And as they pass, who we learn is Michael, looks at the back of the sign and it says, "Murder Capital of the World." In spray paint. Someone spray painted it on there.
Yeah, and then they do a montage of people.
Yeah, and we hear the song, "People Are Strange," originally recorded by the Doors, but this version is a cover by Echo and the Bunnymen. Then we see more credits and scenes of the town and boardwalk while the credits go by.
Right. They're showing, I guess, what would be considered strange people, but they're people with dyed hair and kind of punk people, I would guess, is what they're trying to make look strange.
Yeah, people who hang out on the boardwalk.
Yeah.
Maybe street
Lots
performers,
of homeless,
whatever.
Homeless people hang out on the boardwalk too, or they used to, because the climate is reasonable. You don't have a really cold season.
So they eventually arrive at the mom's dad's house, correct?
Well, I just want to make a fashion note that Corey, one of the Corys, Sam, we learn later is Sam,
Corey
right?
Haim,
is wearing a shirt. He's a kid, and he's wearing a shirt that was made for a very large man. I guess it was the style back then that I don't remember, that clothes were very oversized. I don't remember that as much.
I'm honestly a little angry about how they decided to dress Corey Haim in this film throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, he looks. I don't know if he's supposed to be new wave, because there were lots of different.
Well, I know in the original script he was a girl.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Not
so
that.
I don't know if that has anything to do with it or what.
But he's in more pastels and new. I think, like I said, new wave kind of clothes, which is not something that I would know about. Not Miami Vice, but kind of.
No, it's
those colors.
It's louder than Miami Vice.
Yeah, but that kind of color scheme is what I mean. It's not the leather. I think it's a contrast with the vamps,
Could be.
To show he's a happy, good kid. But Michael is the older brother, and when they drive up to Grandpa's,
who is played by Jason Patrick.
Michael is, not the grandpa. Yeah. He's driving behind the car on his motorcycle, literally eating dirt, because the car's driving on a dirt road and he's riding behind it.
Yeah. As they get to Dad's house, that's a good Grandpa's house. Okay.
Yeah. Which is a very big house for California. That is a huge house.
So they arrive at her father's house, which is Michael and Sam's grandfather. They walk in and immediately Sam notices there's no TV.
Well, he's weird. He's like an artist or something. They pull up to the house and there's all this weird stuff. And he's laying on the porch pretending to be dead when they get there.
Yeah.
So they're making him seem odd. That's all.
Eccentric.
Yes.
And so Sam notices there's no TV and he says, "Michael, you know what that means? No TV, no MTV."
Oh, the trauma.
Yeah. And then we learn that Diane is recently divorced, but her father says that she's the only woman he knows whose situation did not improve after she got divorced. So that's why I
assume they're coming from Phoenix, Arizona to move in with him.
I agree.
And they go into I think it's the kitchen. There's all kinds of animal skulls and skins.
I think it's a separate room where it's a taxidermy room, kind of.
His workroom.
Yeah.
Yeah, we learn later he does lots of taxidermy.
Yeah. Has a lot of weird things in it, but it's a very cool house. It's a neat looking house.
And then Michael sees what appears to be marijuana growing outside the kitchen window.
Was it?
That's what he acted like it was.
I know, but could you see it?
Turned to Sam and said, it didn't look like marijuana to me.
Okay. I didn't know if he was just teasing Sam or if it actually was.
Could have been.
Seems like it could be with the character.
And then Grandpa goes over the rules. He has his own shelf in the 1956 refrigerator.
Right.
It's where he keeps his, Dr. Pepper? Is that what he says?
Root beers and double thick Oreos.
Root beers. Then he shows him the TV guide and talks about the label on the TV guide. And he says, you may be tempted to pull it if it's pulled up a little. I don't like that. And then Sam says, you mean you do have a TV? And Grandpa says, no, I like to read the TV guide. If you got the TV guide, you don't need a TV.
And he slams the door shut. But before that, Michael does ask if Santa Carla is the murder capital of the world. And Grandpa says, there are some bad elements around here.
Yes, he does. Next, we cut to a scene and we see, again, we're flying over the boardwalk at night. And there's a party going on with a very 80s band playing.
Live band playing. And here's what I wrote. Okay, let's just pause for a moment to appreciate the oiled up, ponytailed, bare-chested sax player with spandex pants and hip thrusts.
Who is also the singer.
Right. So finally, I get to count 2 bare breasts, 2 natural bare breasts. Remember when saxophones were in all the rock songs?
Yes. And we
could
go back to
Clarence
Clemens, yeah. But also in the Mad Max Thunderdome, the Tina Turner videos that went along with that, there was a lot of saxophone in it.
For a while in the 80s, saxophones were in every rock song, it seemed like. Yes. But this guy is something to see.
Yes, and I made a note. I'm sure this band thought this would be their big break.
Right?
But I don't know. I don't know who they are.
So are they an actual band or was it just a bunch of people they put together? Are they actors?
I don't know. I mean, the dude singing looked legit and playing the sax. I noticed there was like a female guitar player or bass player or something, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't see any of that. I just saw the oiled up, hip thrusting sax player, and he was tan and he had a ponytail. That was the epitome of 87.
What song were they playing, do you think? You remember how it went?
Was it something about believing or?
I Still Believe.
Yes.
Okay, he's on the soundtrack.
Okay.
I Still Believe by Tim Capello, also credited as Timmy Capello, an American multi-instrumentalist, composer, and vocalist. He is primarily known for his saxophone work supporting Tina Turner in the 80s and 90s. So I'll bet he was in the Mad Max videos for this Bullets of Fire and Beyond Thunderdome videos. So, as well as his musical performance in the 1987 vampire film, The Lost Boys.
So he was successful, just not, well, he was a working...
Not as a solo artist anyway.
No, but he was a working musician.
All right. So anyway, while the band is playing, the very 80s band featuring Tim Capello, Michael sees Jamie Gertz from across the way.
And is mesmerized.
He is, as you would be if you saw Jamie Gertz from across the way.
I don't know. I think I might have still been mesmerized by the saxophone player.
Nope. It's all about Jamie Gertz. He can't take his eyes off of her. Finally, Jamie Gertz makes eye contact with him, but she eventually turns and runs away. They keep looking at each other and
dancing. Well, she's dancing. He's just staring at her.
So then who we learn is Michael. We're calling him Michael now. Jason Patrick. He runs after her.
Doesn't really run.
Leaving his little brother alone in the
Well,
murder capital of the world.
He doesn't really. He kind of like grabs him
I
and
know.
drags him along.
I thought he left him, and I was like, you just learned this was the murder capital of the world, and you take off.
Next, we see Mom, Diane Weist, right, walking along the boardwalk. And someone is hanging a missing poster for the police officer who we saw earlier.
There's posters of missing people all over town. And this is, I assume, the wife of the cop, looked about the right age to be the wife. And they were hanging them on bulletin boards. Remember when people used to hang stuff on bulletin boards?
Yeah, I do. In Fazio's.
Well, everywhere. On
yeah.
college campuses.
Every
everywhere.
grocery store, whatever, had a corkboard in the entrance and people hung their shit.
Every
right?
pet store, every coffee shop, everywhere had them.
Selling a car, selling a dog, selling a cat, looking for a roommate, whatever. House for sale.
Singer wanted.
Yes. She's walking along and she sees a help wanted sign in a window of a store. She goes in, talks to the store manager.
First, she finds a crying young boy who's lost. She asks if she can help him, and that catches the eye of the video store guy.
Yes.
Because she's very maternal.
She goes in, and the Lost Boys go in as well. David and all the other Lost Boys walk in.
Yeah, it's a video rental store, people. You know, there's one Blockbuster left in the entire United States now.
There is.
In Alaska.
Yes.
But these used to be everywhere.
They weren't all Blockbusters. There were mom and
No.
pops as well, which is what I think this one is.
But you go in, just for these people who don't know, you spent time, significant amount of time in the video store looking for a movie to rent on a Friday or Saturday night.
Looking at all the VHS cases on the
and being disappointed
shelves.
when the one was there that wasn't there that you wanted.
Yes,
It was
you would even go check the
return bin.
The
Yes.
return bin. Yeah.
This was the prehistoric Netflix and chill.
So the store manager tells the Lost Boys to get out, and he told them not to come in there anymore. They get on their motorcycles and take off. So this is when we meet Max and his dog, Thorn. He runs the video store. And Diane tells Max she needs a job. Cut to a scene of Michael and Sam chasing after Star, who is Jamie Gertz.
Yeah, they're going into an arcade. And I just made a note. There are lots of extras in this movie. There are a lot of people on the boardwalk.
Sam goes into a comic book store and meets Corey Feldman.
And there's more missing kid flyers in the comic book store.
Yeah. But Corey and his brother make fun of Sam's clothes.
As they should. They're the Frog Brothers.
Yes, the Frog Brothers. It took me, I wrote it later, but yeah, the Frog Brothers. And Sam says he's looking for a Batman number 14.
To show he's legit.
Yeah, and one of the Frog Brothers says, "Oh, there's only 5 of those in the world." And then Sam says, "Yeah, I already have 3. I'm just always looking for the other 2."
No, he says,
or something like that.
No, so he says there's only 4, and he's always looking for the other 3. So he has 1.
Okay.
But I looked this up to see if this was a legit thing.
Yeah.
And apparently it's not really.
Oh.
Who is it? Schumacher?
Yeah.
He just liked Batman. But I did look up.
Well, why did he destroy it later when he did Batman and Robin?
Well, that was the irony of it. But let me do this. Greg.
Yes.
How much do you think Batman number 14 in a 9.8 or above condition is worth today?
Well, you just said it's not really a rare thing, really.
Well, it's an old comic, so it is.
Well, it's old.
So
it's number
14.
I'm going to say $557.
So 9.8 or above, $54,000. But if it's 8.5 or lower, it's only $5,000.
What's so special about Batman number 14?
I think it's just old. There's just not many of them around.
Okay. Next, the Frog Brothers give Sam a vampire comic book and tell him it could save his life.
But he says he doesn't like horror comics.
No, he doesn't. Next, we see Star meeting up with the Lost Boys, and she gets on the back of David's motorcycle, who's Kiefer.
Okay, and right before that, there's a little mini riot in the comic book store, and some guy steals some comics. That just comes back in a little later.
I don't remember.
Okay. But yeah, so Star's walking with the kid and gets on the motorcycle with Kiefer.
Oh, yeah, I do remember now.
Yeah, because now...
So then David smirks at Michael, and they drive away.
Kiefer's good at smirking.
But Star still looks back from the back of
Yes.
David's motorcycle at Michael. I think they've made a love connection.
There was a zing.
Next, we see a couple making out in the car. Now, is this guy the guy who stole the comic books?
Yeah, because his
Okay.
girlfriends, they're not really making out. She's laughing, reading a comic book, and he's trying to make out. He's trying hard, but she's reading. She keeps pushing him away, reading the comic books.
And laughing.
Yes.
Next, the top rips off the car, and they are pulled into the sky by an unseen force, assuming the vampires.
They're screaming too, so yeah.
Sam and his grandfather are in the grandfather's car. I'll show you they're going to town. You know what kind of car it is, Karen?
You could see it says a Ford Fairlane.
Yes. Do you know anything else about it, Karen?
I
You know
do
what
not.
year or what model
No.
Fairlane it is?
It was a convertible.
Yes. It's a
No, I don't.
1957 Ford Fairlane 500 Skyliner,
It's a pretty car.
which is kind of it's like a hard top convertible, which is kind of cool. You know what I mean?
So how does it fold in?
I think it goes into the trunk or something.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. You know how much a 1957 Ford Fairlane 500 Skyliner is worth today? Average retail?
It looked pretty fancy. In good condition. It looks like a car that people would want.
Yeah, average retail. What do you think?
$50,000.
$31,400.
Dang it.
So that stupid comic book is worth more than that car.
Yeah.
You know what it sold for? Base price in 1957?
$2,800.
Wow, it's pretty close. $2,942.
Oh, I'm getting better.
You are. But it can reach prices today up to $58,000 for a really nice one. So
Well, I said 50.
for a nice one, I said. I asked for
Well-
the average retail.
Greg, I am always going to skew towards the nice one.
So anyway, Sam thinks they're going into town. So grandfather turns on the car and then turns it right off again and gets out.
Grandpa's pretty funny.
He is. I like grandpa. And says, that's as close as town as I want to get.
Exactly.
That's pretty good. It's funny. Next, we see Sam back in the comic store meeting with the Frog Brothers. Corey Feldman tells Sam about vampires, right?
Yes, he does.
Next, we cut to the boardwalk.
Well, they say the comic book store is their cover. And so there are two brothers, and their parents are always in the comic book store.
Yes, they are.
But Greg and I could have played these two because they're hippies.
Wear a wig.
Right. But they're hip. Well, so would I. They're hippies. And they just, every shot of them is them asleep on each other, leaning against the wall. And they have dark circle sunglasses on and tie-dye, maybe. I don't know. But they don't have any lines. But anyway, so the brothers say that the comic book store, which is owned by the parents, is their cover, and they're dedicated to a higher purpose. They say they're fighters for truth, justice, and the American way.
Yes, they are.
And then they suggest you read the vampire comic, Destroy All Vampires. It's a survival manual with the Frog Brothers number on the back. And Sam thinks they're lunatics.
So Corey Feldman and the other dude, the other Frog brother, who is Jameson Newlander, they seem a bit older than Corey Haim to me.
Really?
And this is the first Corey and Corey film. This is the first film they were in together.
I thought he seemed younger. Feldman's,
Really?
Yeah. Are they the same age or different?
I don't know. They just seemed
We'll
older.
find
than me. I
out
didn't even make a
now.
note of that. I'm just thinking about it as we're talking.
Now, hold on, because we need to know now.
All right, fine. Corey Feldman was born in 1971. Corey Haim was born in 1971.
Oh,
Corey Haim was born in December 71. Feldman was born in July. So Feldman was
a little older.
he was a lot older.
He was way older, according to
older.
our sliding scale. Yes, that's almost exactly way older.
So anyway, the next scene we cut is the boardwalk at night, and Michael buys a leather jacket.
Yes.
Leather.
Michael just gained points in my book.
Yes. And then he's walking by like a dude doing ear piercings, and he stops and he's thinking about getting his ear pierced.
Like you? Wait a minute. You know we got to stop here.
Okay.
Well, wait. Star approaches behind him and says it's a ripoff.
It's a ripoff.
She says she will pierce his ear.
Yes,
if
you want your ear pierced, she said she will do it.
So, Craig, did you have your ear pierced in 1987?
I did. Way before that, actually.
And was it done by a girl or was it done by a professional?
The first time it was done by a girl on a bus.
To a band competition?
A drum corps competition. Yeah.
Mm.
It ended up closing up, and I ended up doing it myself after that.
You did it yourself?
Yeah.
Just
I nailed the same, just one, and I nailed the hole going in, but I have 2 exit holes in the back.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I can still put an earring in to this day.
I have 3 in the left ear and 2 in the right. So
just 1 in the left.
Yeah, piercing ears was a big thing back then, but
I think I got my ear pierced in like 1980.
So you were still in high school?
Junior high. I was in junior high.
Oh yeah, because you're way younger than me.
I am.
It was a thing. Anyway, she tells him her name is Star.
Yes. And David and the Lost Boys watch.
And Star definitely dresses in boho clothing the whole time. Bohemian type clothing.
Yeah, she does. David and the boys stop Michael and Star from going to get something to eat. Yeah, he asked her to get something to eat and hop on the back of my bike and we'll go riding.
Yeah.
And then David looks at her and says, Star. And she gets back on the back of David's bike.
She goes with Kiefer with her 80s perm. That is a total 80s perm.
Yep.
Big, big hair.
And David tells Michael, or Kiefer tells Michael, to follow them to the point of Hudson's Bluff.
Yes.
Point on Hudson's Bluff.
It's Hudson's Bluff overlooking the point.
Yeah. And there's a lighthouse. And is that a real place?
Well, I don't know. I didn't look that up. I got stuck because it said Hudson's. I mean, come on. It's not Wallace's Bluff. It's Hudson's Bluff.
Yeah, true. Michael says, well, I can't beat your bike or whatever. He says, you don't have to. You just have to follow.
Just try to keep up.
Yeah, just try to keep up. And then we hear more terrible 80s music as they race up the beach on their motorcycles.
I looked up something because I thought it would be hard to ride a motorcycle on the beach because it's loose sand, right? And I thought, how are they doing this so fast? But it turns out if you go at high speed, it's easier. You're more stable than if you're going at low speeds. So they're doing it right.
Okay, good.
But sand is flying everywhere. And they're riding without goggles or any face protection, or you would be eating sand.
Yes, you would.
If you weren't in the front.
So they race to the end of the point, and Michael was right neck and neck with David. And then Michael drops his bike right before they go over the edge. And somehow David just stops before they go over.
Well, he knows it's there.
Yes. And then Michael wants to fight David.
Just you. Just you.
Just you. Yeah. Keep your boys out of this. I'll take you all, but one at a time. That's what he's thinking. Then David asks Michael, how far are you willing to go?
Michael. They say Michael a lot in this movie.
Yeah, his name's Michael. Never Mike. Always Michael.
Well, his brother calls him Mike, but
that's true.
But Kiefer calls him subconsciously, and everybody's yelling, Michael, Michael, Mike. It's just weird.
So then they all go down into the cave, which was a whatever hotel or whatever that collapsed during the earthquake.
I just wrote, damn, these boys are handsome.
Even Bill?
No, but Bill looked better later.
Who was your favorite Lost Boy?
I don't know.
You had Bill, you had David, then you had the blonde guy, and then you had the brunette. So
I think I like
one?
the brunette better. I think I like
Really?
the brunette. There were 3 blondes and a brunette, and I probably
Yeah.
the brunette. I mean, Kiefer is good looking.
Yeah, Kiefer's pretty hot, but
Yeah.
I think it's kind of a toss up between maybe the blonde and brunette. I don't know.
Yeah. They were all handsome, but
They all had nice hair.
they all had a nice everything.
Next,
Anyway.
we cut to
Back to the lair where
Yes.
Star looks apprehensive.
well, no, if we leave the lair and Sam is reading the vampire comic as he prepares for bed. And Mom comes in and said, it's after 10 o'clock. And then Grandpa comes in and gives him some taxidermy.
I think it's a stuffed groundhog.
Yeah. But we learned that Sam's kind of a chicken. He's kind of a scared dude. He
I
doesn't
don't
like the
know.
closet doors open
Oh,
before
well,
he goes to
that.
bed. Mom
But
has to come in and close them for him. And
But the taxidermy, that's just, I wouldn't want that staring at me.
I know, but still. And Sam has a picture of Molly Ringwald hanging on
does.
in his room.
But
And
Rob Lowe.
Rob Lowe
I saw that too.
pulling his shirt up. Right? I'm like, why does he have a poster of Rob Lowe?
Hey, he can
Doing
have a
that.
poster of anyone he wants.
Like I said, originally he was supposed to be a girl. So whatever.
But he has a Molly Ringwald too. He's keeping his options open.
I suppose. Poor Corey. Really bad for that kid.
It went bad later for
Well,
him
probably
personally.
before this, it went bad. But whatever. Next, back to the Lost Boys having dinner in their cave.
In the lair.
Yes, they're having Chinese takeout. Well,
Which is
David
weird.
David
So
gives
wait.
Michael something. He says, "How about a appetizer?" Right? And I think it's a joint he hands him.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So I think that's why he's like having all these hallucinations.
No,
now.
it's not.
Or are they like fucking
That's
with
showing. Yeah, that
him?
shows
Their
the
power
vampires.
over him.
Yeah. The vampires have in folklore an ability to create illusions to their lesser beings. They're setting him up with this so that we'll talk about it in a second.
Yeah. Well, they give him Chinese and
But they're eating it. And I didn't think
They are.
vampires ate food, regular food,
why wouldn't you?
because it doesn't give them any nourishment. That's
So
one thing.
It probably still tastes good.
I don't think it does. I don't think it tastes like anything.
All right.
They're dead. They don't need food. In most vampire movies and books, they don't eat real food.
So I made a note of this earlier, and then it like just occurred to me after I made the note. You know what the mom's name is?
Lucy.
Lucy.
Yeah.
And I thought about it later. I'm like, oh, like Lucy in the Dracula movies.
Right. Yeah.
Like, okay, that makes sense. So anyway, so they're asking.
They're fucking with them.
Yeah, they asked
Mind
Michael,
control.
"Hey,
Yeah.
how's your maggots?" He says, "You're eating maggots," and he looks down and it's maggots, but then he drops it and it turns back to rice.
Right. It was rice originally.
Yeah.
And then they use their power of persuasion.
Then he asks, "You want some noodles?" And he shows them, and they're worms. They're not worms; they're noodles. And so David eats noodles, and so yeah, they're messing with him. Then they offer him a drink.
Yeah. Bill
From
from
a
Bill and
bottle.
Ted brings a bottle of what they call wine. So they're setting him up. They're saying, oh, it's maggots when it's really rice, and it's worms when it's really noodles. So when Star says it's blood, he thinks,
says, "Yeah, right, whatever."
right. So it's
Yeah.
a whole setup so he'll drink the blood.
Yeah. So they offer him a drink. They tell him, "Be one of us," and they begin chanting his name, Michael, 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 Michael. And Star tells him not to do it, that it's blood, and he says, "Yeah, sure."
Because he's just been set up. So
Yeah. And there's a Jim Morrison poster. I made a note.
yes. So he drinks it.
Yes, he does. Next, they arrive at a train trestle
But how many days has he been here? And he's already half a vampire.
One.
Like, is it 1 day or 2 days?
Yeah. Well, that's what happens when you meet, lock eyes with Jamie Gertz
Oh, okay.
at a
I mean,
80s
within 24
concert
hours.
with a half naked guy playing saxophone, all greased up.
Well, there you go.
What do you think else is going to happen?
I just thought it was pretty funny. They call him half vampire, and he's been there 24 hours.
So they get to the train trestle, and Michael's ear is now pierced. Okay.
Yes.
Then one by one, all of the boys jump off the trestle. And Michael looks down and sees they are all hanging from the bottom of the train trestle, right?
Yes, which that's a nightmare of mine. So I would never do that.
Me either. They tell Michael to come on down. And he does. He climbs down and hangs from this train trestle.
Which, do you know how much ab power you need to pull yourself back up on there? I mean,
don't know. And then
and
a
to make
train
it
arrives.
worse, yes, then a train shows up.
And of course, it's shaking the train trestle. And one by one, each of the boys drop into the mist below. There's no bottom. You
Froggy's
can't see the
fog.
bottom. It's Froggy's fog.
Fog.
Just
Yeah, it's
fog
thick.
everywhere. They yell for Michael not to be scared. And David tells him to let go. You are one of us. And they're all gone. He's the only one hanging there. But he hears them from below him saying, Michael, come on,
Well,
Michael.
I say Kiefer erotically whispers, Michael.
Is that what you call erotica?
Just erotic. He was whispering it. He wasn't yelling it. He was whispering, like, come to me, Michael.
Okay. So Michael lets go and he drops. He appears to float in the mist.
He's screaming.
Yeah, for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
But then he's just like floating there.
He is.
And he winds up landing in his bed.
He wakes up in bed.
Yeah. And this is where I notice he has an earring now. So Sam comes in and wakes him up and tells him it's 2:00. Mom has called and wants to talk to him. She asked him to watch Sam so that she and Max can go to dinner. Next, we see a scene of Grandpa wanting to know if there's anything in the house that can be used as aftershave.
He's got a hot date. And what does he decide to use?
Windex. Sam offers him Windex and he smells it and says, yeah. Yes, that's the stuff. Yeah, he's going to drop off a present to the widow Johnson.
What is this, the 1800s? The widow Johnson?
I don't know, but it's a piece of taxidermy, isn't it?
Yes.
So then it appears that all the Lost Boys ride their motorcycles to Grandpa's house because we see the lights through the windows and hear them.
Yeah, it's chaotic.
And Michael hears them calling him.
Again. Michael.
Yes. He goes to open the door and Sam tells him to stop, but Michael opens the door and there's no one there.
And Sam asks Michael, what's going on?
Yeah. Next, Michael goes to the fridge to grab some milk, gets the milk, and then he bends over in pain, like he's been stabbed in the gut or something. He's grabbing
his transformation is starting, I guess.
And Sam is taking a bubble bath.
And singing.
And singing a 50s show tune.
And Nanook, the dog's in there with him. Not in the tub, in the bathroom.
No. So Michael walks up the stairs. The dog is not happy.
No.
Michael enters the bathroom and the dog attacks him.
Michael's approaching the bathroom, breathing heavy and sweating. I think we're supposed to assume he's vampirically
he needs
hungry.
To feed.
Yeah.
Yes. So then Sam goes downstairs and turns on the light and finds Michael with a dog bite to his hand. He tells Sam that the dog was protecting him. Then Sam notices Michael's reflection in the mirror, transparent, like he's fading away.
Yes.
And he says, "You're a vampire."
Yeah, he recognizes this as a sign he's a vampire, and he runs upstairs with Nanook.
Wait till Mom finds out.
I know.
I'm going to tell Mom. So Sam runs to his room and grabs the vampire comic book with the phone number of the Fogg brothers on the back.
And Michael goes to his own room.
Yes.
So Sam calls the Frog Brothers and they
Yes.
ask questions.
And they ask him if his brother sleeps all day and doesn't like the light, and if he has bad breath and long fingernails. And Sam says, yeah, but he's always had bad breath, but all the other things are kind of true.
That's a brother for you.
Yeah, and they tell Sam that Michael is a vampire. And Corey Feldman tells him to get a good sharp stick and drive it right through his heart. Sam says he can't do that. And they offer to come over and do it for him.
Well, he's his brother. Yeah, he's going to have a hard time doing that.
Next, we see Michael dancing on the ceiling.
Yes.
He's on the ceiling of his room, and he's struggling to get down.
Yeah, he floats up to the ceiling, unawares. It wakes him up when he hits the ceiling.
And then he's like, tries to fly out the window. Is he trying to get out the window?
I think he's trying to get, which would seem to me to be very risky.
Right, me too. If you're full of helium and you're going to float, why would you go out the window?
I don't know.
So then Mom calls, and she's talking to Sam, and she wants to know what all the noise is. She says, "It's not Michael, is it?" And we see Michael flying outside the window of Sam's room.
Right, he's
holding
floating
on to,
by
like, the
Sam's
phone
window
line or something.
Yes. Barely staying in the
He's
atmosphere.
on the other line, and
Yes.
he says, "Don't pay any attention to him. I'm fine."
All right, we probably need to explain that. So when you had a landline back in the day, you could just pick up another phone and be able to speak with whoever was on the line.
You can pick up another phone in the house.
Anywhere in the house.
Yes. If you had 3 phones in your house, then 3 people could be on the phone at the same time talking in the
Yeah,
same
you didn't need
conversation.
that silly 3-way calling. You just picked up the
No.
damn phone.
Nope. Yep.
So yeah, all your siblings could quietly pick up the phone
And listen to your conversations.
Yes.
If you had siblings.
Right.
I didn't.
Well, or your mom could.
But your mom could.
Right. Or dad.
And Dad wouldn't do that.
Nah, mostly mom. But anyway, that's another antique thing.
Yep. Then Sam tells his mom to come home. Michael's going to kill me.
Yeah. Which again, not so uncommon with siblings.
Of course, Mom is calling from her dinner date with Max at a fancy restaurant or some shit.
Right. She goes, "Oh my God, I'm
So
coming home."
she runs out of the restaurant, goes to
Yes.
her Toyota Range Rover or whatever the hell I said it was, Land
Poor
Cruiser,
Poor Max is just
and
sitting
leaves
there
Max sitting
and
there.
watches her run away.
Yes, poor Max.
Well, wouldn't be a confidence booster if you were a regular guy, because she runs to the car and speeds away.
Yes. And Michael pleads with Sam to let him in through the window.
"Help me. I'm
Please.
your brother."
Please, I'm your brother. So Sam eventually relents and lets him in through the window.
And they hug.
Mom arrives and runs in to see how Sam is. Sam explains that everything's okay. He just got a little carried away after reading some scary comic book. Then she sees the refrigerator wide open with the milk on the floor.
That's what happened when Michael had his first transformational pain.
Yeah,
He was getting milk out of the fridge
Right.
and just dropped it
right.
and
That's
left
what I
it.
said. Yes.
Yeah.
And she says, "Are you trying to refrigerate the whole neighborhood?"
That's a dad thing to say.
That is a dad thing. But she's mom and dad now. So,
True.
and then we zoom in on the milk carton and see that it has a photo of the little boy who hangs out with Star and the other lost boys. Apparently he's missing. I never did make a note of his name. They said it a couple times, but
Laddie.
Laddie. So Sam asks Mom if he can spend the night in her room that night.
Well,
Later.
Grandpa comes home from his date and Michael leaves on his motorcycle.
Yes, he sneaks
then-
out on his motorcycle. So then Sam asks Mom if he can spend the night in her room. And she says, "Have you been eating pizza?" And he
Yeah.
says, "No." And she says, "You smell like garlic." And then we see that Sam is wearing a necklace of garlic under his very colorful bathrobe.
Yes.
Next, we see Max arriving at his home. He hears animal noises as he's walking to his front door. At one point, he says, "Who's there?" And then we see his dog Thorn, so he thinks it might be Thorn. But then he's hit with a kite that looks like a bat.
Yeah.
And then we see the Lost Boys motorcycle headlights again.
I think it's supposed
Outside
to
his
show
house.
that he's innocent. They're setting us up.
I guess.
Or I guess maybe they're introducing us to his dog. No,
Well,
we saw
we already
him
met his dog
previous.
at the
Yeah,
store.
so I don't know. This scene was
Because
kind
the
of.
dog is always with him.
Yes, it needs to be.
Next, Michael goes to the Lost Boys cave. He's looking for Star. He finds the bottle they were drinking from the night before and he throws it aside. Finds
Breaks it.
Star.
He breaks it, smashes it. Yeah.
He finds Star and asks her what is happening to him. Then they kiss. And then again,
And more.
Then again, we hear Cry Little Sister by LA Guns. Did I mention that was in the title during the credits?
I don't know.
I might not have, but it is. It's called Cry Little Sister by LA Guns. That's the song. So they kiss, and then like he gets topless, and then I assume she gets topless, but we don't see any bare breasts.
But I saw his, so now I'm at 4 because I have the saxophone player, and now I have Michael. So I have 2 more natural male bare breasts.
Congratulations!
See how exciting that is, Greg?
Next, we have an aerial shot over the mountains and the ocean, and it appears to be going into the cave. Assume they're the Lost Boys flying back in.
Returning to the lair.
Yes, and Michael and Star are in bed. And Michael removes the bandage from his hand where the dog had bitten him earlier, and it is completely healed. No scar, no nothing.
That's a nice benefit.
So next, Michael arrives at home.
Somebody waited up.
It was middle of the day now. And Mom wants to have a talk. But Michael doesn't want to talk. Grandpa is wearing his sunglasses in the house, just like Michael. And Grandpa says, looks like I'm not the only one who got lucky last night. Then Sam asks Michael if he took care of everything. He just walks away. Next, Lucy, or Mom, goes to Mac's house with Sam in their Toyota. Toyota Land Cruiser. She wants to bring some wine to Max to apologize for ditching him the night before. And just as Sam turns the comic book, he's reading one of the vampire horror comic. He turns the page, and it's a page about the hounds of hell. Just as he does that, Thorn goes after Lucy. Goes after her hard.
Chases. Yeah. He's not quitting.
Nope. So I guess Max is probably in there sleeping, and the dog is there to protect Max.
She has to jump the fence, and he rips her dress.
Yeah, and he almost bites through the wooden fence.
Right. He does the Shining, the Jack Nicholson Shining scene. The dog does.
It is. Johnny's home. Thorn's home.
Thorn's here.
So next, Sam goes to the comic book store and talks to the Frog Brothers again about what happened. And they tell him that if the head vampire is killed, all the half vampires will no longer be vampires. So they talk about it, and they put 2 and 2 together, and they figure that Max might be the head vampire.
Just because of this hellhound thing? I didn't really follow.
But everything else that's happened so far that has to do with Max.
Yeah, and Michael's only a half vampire, so they're thinking they can save him.
Yes. And the Frog Brothers agree to check out Max. So it just so happens that Mom has invited Max over for dinner to make up for the previous night when she ditched him. And she asks Michael to stay and meet Max. He says he can't. He has plans. And as Michael is opening the door to leave, Max is standing there. And Max says to Michael, as the man of the house, I am not coming in until you invite me. Then Michael says, you're invited.
So when I was originally watching the movie, this is when I knew, because I know that about vampires. I didn't know if he was the head vampire, but I knew he was a vampire.
Yes. So I think we all saw that.
Well, if you don't know the lore, so I'll tell you about it.
Yes, please do.
If vampires enter a house without being invited, they will weaken or lose their powers.
Yeah, you can try all those tricks with mirrors and crosses and holy water.
But if they go in
or whatever,
uninvited, they can't defend against that because they'll lose their powers if they're not invited. And once they're invited in, they can always enter until ownership of the house changes.
Really?
Yeah. So
they just have to be invited in once, you're saying.
Yeah.
According to the lore.
Yes.
Okay. It's interesting.
So if someone in your house invites them in, you're screwed.
But can someone revoke the invitation at some point?
I think you can revoke it, yes. But you
Okay.
have to say it out loud. You have to
Okay.
revoke their invitation.
Good to know. In case I invite a vampire in. So then Sam, we find, has asked the Frog Brothers to come over for dinner as well.
Okay, so he introduces them.
Yes.
Do you remember what their names are?
I don't remember, but I could tell you.
Edgar and Allan.
Edgar and Allan.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Edgar Allan.
Yeah.
Like a Poe reference, I would guess, right?
Yep. I would as well.
I didn't notice that the first time. That's something I
didn't catch Lucy until this afternoon, long after I'd even watched it. I thought about it later. Oh yeah, Lucy.
I didn't pay any attention, but when he introduced them as Edgar and Allan, I thought, oh, interesting, Edgar Allan. Okay.
And there's a whole thing about Max too, I thought about, but whatever. So they're having spaghetti and meatballs, it looks like. And Sam offers Max some Parmesan cheese in a little dish. He grated himself, right? So Max says, yes, I would like some. So he puts some on the spaghetti and turns out it's garlic. Corey says, you don't like that, do you? Or Sam. And Max says, actually, he does like garlic. Then, of course, they go through all the vampire tests on Max. I think they spill holy water. I know they spill water on him. I'm assuming it's holy water. And they turn off all the lights and put a mirror in front of him. And so Max passes all the tests.
He does.
Then Max invites Mom or Lucy over for dinner to his house the next night. He says he will cook.
Well, Max tells Sam he isn't trying to take his dad's place. So Max is trying to play it off like Sam thinks he doesn't want him to date his mom because he thinks he's going to replace his dad and all. And then Lucy thinks he's so sensitive, Max, that he's concerned about that.
Yes. But Grandpa looks suspicious. He looks at them afterwards and he looks suspicious. I think he knows what's up. Next, we see Michael on the boardwalk. He meets up with the other Lost Boys. He asks David where Star is. David says, if you ever want to see Star again, you better come with us.
Now. So
they go to the beach where
back on their motorcycles.
There's a party going on with like 5 dudes partying together. Whatever. I don't know what that's about. But
they called them surf Nazis.
Okay. And they're listening to Walk This Way by Run DMC.
Is that supposed to be cool?
I don't know.
Well, it just doesn't seem very hardcore for surf Nazis, but.
Yeah, that's not even on the soundtrack. That song isn't. Probably couldn't get the rights or something.
I'm not dissing the song. I'm just saying it doesn't seem like a surf Nazi kind of song.
No, it doesn't. You're right. I don't know what the surf Nazi is, but whatever.
No, and I don't know what song they would listen to, but that didn't seem like the right one. I don't
Probably
know.
Something by the Butthole Surfers.
Yeah, you would think. Yeah.
But no, it's Run DMC. Well, I keep forgetting this is 1987.
Or a Swedish band. What do they call those?
Black metal.
Yeah, you would think, right?
Yes. So next, David tells Michael, initiation is over, Michael. Time to join the club, as they're watching these dudes on the beach jump around, dance. So then the boys all turn into vampires.
Yeah. Is this the first time we see the makeup?
It is.
It's pretty good.
It is. And they fly over and kill and eat all the boys partying on the beach.
Well, yes, all the vamps do. Michael.
Yes. And he begins to turn. He resists.
Yes.
He stays in the tree or they're watching from above, and he begins to turn. Then he falls out of the tree, and David comes to him and tells him that now you know what we are. Now you know what you are. You'll never grow old and you'll never die, but you must feed. So basically they're telling him he's got to kill. He's got to eat.
I thought that was a pretty good scene. I mean, not the dancing on the beach, but it's pretty poignant. This is what we are, and this is what you are. Be pretty brutal to watch that, I would think.
So next, Sam's grandpa gives him some more taxidermy. He takes it and puts it in the closet with the rest of it. His
there's quite
a full of taxidermy. Then Michael arrives at home, and Sam asks him who the head vampire is. Then Star arrives outside, yelling up to the window, and Sam asks, "Is she one of them? Is she one of them?"
And then Star flies up to the window and
She
comes
levitates. Yep.
in. And he says, she's one of them. She's one of them.
Thought that was pretty funny.
Corey Haim is basically comic relief in this whole thing, really, if you think about it. But anyway,
Yeah.
Star explains about everything. She was supposed to kill Michael the previous night when they were all, as you say, kissy facing.
Well, yeah, he won't become a full vampire until his first kill.
And neither will she, because
Right.
she's still a half vampire. And that
Right.
she
She's
explains
resisted.
that Michael was supposed to be her first. That's the way David wanted it.
But she cares about him.
And we keep being like led to believe that David's like the head vampire too, right?
Yes.
But Star likes Michael.
She
Then
does.
Star flies away. Sam yells at her, "Don't kill anybody until we get back to you." All right. So Sam calls the Frog Brothers. We see Grandpa putting in wooden fence posts.
Spiked stakes.
Yes. And I wrote down foreshadowing ?
Yes, so did I.
Well, of course, we've seen it before, but so then Michael, Sam, and the Frog Brothers take Grandpa's Ford Fairlane, and Michael takes them to the Lost Boys cave
In the daytime,
in the daytime.
which all of these movies, the trope is usually they show up at night to the vampire's lair. This one, at least, they went in the daytime.
So they get to the Lost Boys cave, and Michael,
Wait, Sam's ear is now pierced.
is it?
Yeah. Was it always?
I didn't notice.
He's got a small diamond in his ear.
No idea.
Okay. It was distracting to me. And then I thought, did I miss something? Sorry.
I don't
Go
know.
ahead.
I know he gets on Michael for
Right.
having
It's
his
not
ears
you.
pierced. It's
Take it
not
out.
you. Yeah.
And then I even rewound it to see.
I didn't even
And
notice. But Michael goes to take out Star, and Star says, "No, take."
Yeah,
what's
they
his
are in the
name?
lair at this point.
Lanny.
Laddie.
Laddie.
They go into the
take
lair.
him out first.
Yeah.
So Michael takes Laddie out, and Sam and the Frog Brothers investigate the cave, and they end up finding the Lost Boys hanging from the ceiling.
They're like trudging through the, I don't know, cave like
Cave, yeah.
things. And they're looking for coffins.
Right.
And they can't find them. They come up on it and they say they can smell them. And
Yep.
because
And while they're doing all that, then Michael takes Laddie out. Then he comes back and he takes Storm out.
But yeah, and they're still looking for coffins, and they come to a dead end.
Yep.
And then they think they haven't found them, and then they look up. I thought that was a really cool shot because they're hanging there
Yeah.
like bats
And they just say, "Oh, this whole thing is their coffin. This cave is
Right.
their coffin."
with their glorious mullets hanging down.
Yes. Kind of looked fake though.
The mullets, yes, they
Yes.
did.
In this
They did.
scene, they absolutely, because they were
They
hanging
kind of
down.
did through the whole thing because they're too long. But I thought it was a cool idea to put them
Kind of
hanging like that.
Looked like they had a weave going
Yes, yes.
on. So
They don't know who the leader is, so they just
Nope,
have
they
to
don't.
kill them all.
So yeah, the Frog Brothers and Sam climb up there and they stab Bill
Right.
from Bill and Ted, or whatever I said his name was. Marco.
Marco.
Yeah, they stab Marco right through the heart with a stake. And of course, there's bloody goo all over the place, and all the other Lost Boys turn into vampires and wake up. And they chase after the boys.
Which
David
is, they can't
grabs-
catch them. I mean, come on. But anyway, yeah.
David grabs Sam's foot as they're trying to get away, and they drag him into the sunlight, and his hand catches on fire and burns.
They're basically having a tug of war between Kiefer and the Frog Brothers with
Yes.
Sam as the rope.
Yeah.
Back and forth. And they get his hand and it bursts into flames
And then I
when it
made a
hits
note
the
that
sunlight.
there's glitter in the blood. That's what Corey Haim said in like some documentary. They put glitter in the blood to make it more glistening. And you can notice that in this scene, when they come out of the cave in the daylight and they have blood all over their clothes, it's glitter. You can see the glitter glittering in the
Oh,
sun.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they do get away.
Yeah.
I
So they
just
run
made
to
a
the
point
car. They
that
drive
the makeup
away.
is great. The vampire makeup is good. They have contacts in and their sculpted cheekbones and the whole deal. They look
Yes.
good for 1987 as vampires.
Yeah, I think they do too. So they eventually get back to Grandpa's Ford Fairlane. Sam jumps in and drives.
Yeah, because Michael's kind of passed out.
I don't know why, but he is,
Well, vampires sleep during the day.
I guess. So they eventually arrive back at Grandpa's house, and they carry Star and the kid up to Michael's room. And I made a note there's a modern English poster in Michael's room. We haven't seen Michael's room a lot to know what kind of posters he has, but he has a modern English poster. So next, Sam rides his bike to the video store.
They have 2.5 hours to come up with a plan because at sundown, the vamps will come looking for them.
So Sam rides his bike to the video store and tells his mom all about the vampires. Mom won't listen.
Yeah, she thinks Sam is trying to sabotage your date with Max.
Right. Then Sam tells the Frog Brothers that they are all on their own. So next we see the boys, the Frog Brothers and Sam, bust into a church during what looks like a baptism. Is that what they call it?
Yes.
And they start filling their canteens up with holy water.
There's always reservoirs of holy water in the back of the church.
Sam tells his grandpa that the widow Johnson called and that she wants to be picked up at 7 instead of 8. Grandpa doesn't seem to recall them having a date, but he gets excited.
Yeah, they want to get Grandpa out of the house. So
Grandpa leaves.
Mm-hmm.
Then the boys create a vampire trap in the bathtub. They fill it with holy water and garlic.
Well, they're smashing garlic from a bag that looks like it's a 50 to 100 pound bag of garlic. Did you see that in the kitchen?
And they fill their squirt guns with holy water.
Okay, so they went to the back of the church and filled 2 canteens.
No, more than 2.
Okay, but still. So it's an entire bathtub.
Like 2 each. They probably filled 2 each. Let's say 2 each. So 6 canteens.
That's not going to fill a bathtub. So I don't know if mixing holy water with regular water makes it all holy water.
Well, no.
But they did not have that much holy water.
If you mix piss with water, does it become piss water?
I guess. But I wouldn't. You're going to burst into flames for making that comparison. But
holy
anyway.
Water does burn.
So it's a diluted holy water, which does appear to be effective.
Yeah. Well, we find out later.
Yes. But
Next,
this is why we're drinking holy water, people. This is it.
Yeah. Next, we see the sun setting over the boardwalk. The Lost Boys wake up and fly out of the cave.
Did you make a note about the
Kiefer's feet? No, I didn't. He was the only one they showed the feet of.
They're like clawed-like things hanging on a pole.
Yeah, Kiefer's were. That's all.
Yes.
Now, I did make a note that as we're leaving the cave, the video looks like they reversed the previous footage of them flying into the cave.
No, really?
Yeah, because the waves didn't look right to me. Yeah, they didn't look right. I think they just
save some cash dollar.
Yeah, save some cash instead of let's not fly away. Let's just like reverse the footage we already took as we're flying in.
Well, you can imagine it was expensive to do that. Like you said, there's no drones. Yep. So you're paying a helicopter.
The budget of this film was $8.5 million. It did pretty well. So I think they could have afforded another 10 minutes of a helicopter.
But we don't know that. You don't know when you make it if it's going to do well.
I guess. So Max and Mom are having dinner at Max's house. We see that little scene.
Mm-hmm.
Then we cut back to Grandpa's house, and the dog barks as we see an aerial view.
That they're coming.
The boys are coming in.
Yeah.
And Sam runs out to get the dog. He forgot, apparently, that he left the dog outside. So they all run out there to get the dog. Then they all run in the house as they're being chased from above.
Well, everyone's yelling, they're coming. They're coming.
So basically, one by one, the vampires enter the house.
Okay, so wait. They enter the house. Are they invited?
No, they aren't.
So how come they have full power?
I don't know.
I mean, they do this whole thing with Max, right?
Yeah, but he's the head vampire. These are just rogue boys.
I don't know.
Well, we don't know he's the head, but we can assume.
Yeah, way to spoil it for everyone. But I'm just saying.
Spoilers.
They enter the house without being invited, and they made a big deal
wreak havoc
about Max having to be invited. So it's a little
only for the I made a note of exactly what he says later.
All right. Well, you can tell me later, but I'm just saying they're not invited and they come in.
Yeah, they bust in.
And they're wreaking havoc, like you
Yes.
said.
Yes. So the Frog Brothers splash one of them with holy water, the blonde.
But he does say garlic doesn't work.
Yes, he does. And then they splash him with holy water and his face gets burned. And then Nanook, is that the dog's name?
Yeah, go Nanook.
Leaps in and jumps on him and pushes him into the bathtub with the holy water. And he basically melts and becomes a vampire skeleton.
Yeah.
And then bloody water bursts through all the pipes and sprays out the sinks and toilets in the whole house. Yeah. Right?
I think they just wanted that effect for some reason.
Yeah, that was a good effect.
Yeah.
Next, a vampire grabs Sam, the hot brunette one.
Yes, from above, and takes him up to the ceiling.
And Sam sprays him with holy water from his squirt gun and then shoots him with a wooden arrow, or shoots at him with a wooden arrow. Vampire falls for a minute, then he gets up and says, "You miss, sucker." And then Sam says, "Only once, pal," and shoots him again. And the vampire falls into a stereo and basically explodes, sparks everywhere. And the song playing during this is Good Times, which is a old song.
Well, they called it Death by Stereo.
Yep, Good Times, 1968 by the Easy Beats. But it's covered in the film by In Excess. Michael Hutchence in In Excess.
Nice.
With Jimmy Barnes as a guest vocalist with Michael Hutchence. But the Easy Beats, Karen, were a band, and this song actually was written by George Young, and he formed the Easy Beats in Australia.
I don't get
it. So he's the older brother of Angus and Malcolm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he actually produced their first few albums. If you look at their albums, it says produced by Young and Vanda, and was George Young's co-writer when they wrote songs, this Vanda guy who was in the Easy Beats with them. But anyway, so there's a little AC/DC reference.
Gotta love that.
So Good Times. And then that's when Corey says, or Sam says, Death by Stereo.
Yes.
Next, David arrives.
It's down to the final two.
And he
the big show.
Michael. And we cut back to Sam's bedroom and the kid, Laddie. Laddie, is that what his name is? Laddie starts to turn. And all the Frog Brothers go after him, and Star jumps in front of them and stops them from killing him. He tells them he is just a boy. Next, back to David and Michael. And Michael begins to turn. So now he can fly too, just like David.
He licks his own blood. Did you see that?
Yes. Yeah, he does.
Dripping from his nose. It's a little gross.
Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do. So he and David fly and they meet each other. And Michael tries to impale David on one of the taxidermy antlers or whatever on
one
Grandpa's
of the
wall.
Many.
Now he misses, and then David says, "All right, my turn." So he shoves Michael back on the opposite wall and tries to do the same thing.
And he still wants him to, he still says, "Michael, join us."
Yeah.
He still wants him to join.
Right.
Kiefer likes Michael.
No, Kiefer just does what Dad wants him to do.
I guess, yeah.
But eventually Michael impales David on what appear to be some antelope antlers. Which are they really wood? Really? Does that count as a wooden stake through the heart? Antelope antlers?
Well, he doesn't disintegrate.
No, he just dies.
Well, he returns back to normal.
Right.
He looks like a normal human, a non-vampire. But everybody else, come on, Bill from Bill and Ted's exploded when they put a stake in his heart.
Yeah.
So it's a little odd.
Yeah,
Kiefer still looks
gracefully
yes,
fades back to normal to the
he
beautiful Kiefer Sutherland.
Yes.
with spiked hair and a mullet.
Yes. He becomes even more handsome.
He looks so peaceful.
Right.
So Star and the boys come running downstairs. And this is when they figure out there must be another vampire because we don't feel any different. Star and Michael, right?
Mm-hmm. And Michael still looks like a vampire.
Yes. So then Mom and Max arrive. Max walks in and finds David. Michael and Star are in there, but they're kind of hidden, so Max doesn't see him, right? Max tells Lucy, her mom, that it's all his fault. David and my boys have misbehaved.
Yes, misbehaved.
This is Max admits that he's the head vampire, basically.
And he said the boys needed a mother.
That's why he wanted Lucy. He wanted to get Michael, then he wanted to get Sam and Lucy.
Because Lucy would
to make
for
one
sure.
big family. Yes. Lucy's the one he wanted.
So he knew if he got her boys, he would get her.
Right. And this is where Max tells the boys, don't ever invite a vampire into your house, silly boy. Yeah, doesn't work. Once you do that, you're screwed. And Max says he wanted Lucy to be a part of the family. And then Max changes again, back to a vampire, kind of, right?
Mm-hmm.
Michael says, I didn't invite you this time. So is that revoking the invitation when he says that?
I guess so. But he's still there. It's not like he flies out of the house immediately, and he still has all his powers.
Yeah.
So I don't really get.
I think it's just like all the tricks don't work.
Oh, right. So I gotcha. So the mirror and the
yes.
holy water and gotcha.
Yeah. So Max throws Michael upstairs into the loft, and then Max grabs Sam. And he puts his hand out for Lucy to grab. He's telling her, like, join me or I kill your kid. And then I'm going to kill you and everyone else in this house. Basically, right?
Pretty much.
Without saying so.
He conveys a lot with that
yes.
outreached hand.
Yeah. And he's like full vampire mode now, too.
Yeah. He's
fangs and everything. And so Lucy grabs his hand and he begins to go in and bite her just as Grandpa drives through the house. And one of the fence posts comes off of his truck and impales Max.
Lucky shot, because there were a lot of people in there.
Well, there's a lot of fence posts on that truck, too.
I know, but Max was awfully close to Lucy.
That's true. That's true.
Grandpa's taking some chances there.
Yep, it's true. And Max goes up in a huge fireball.
Huge.
Next,
I even wrote that, huge fireball.
mm-hmm. Star, Michael, and Laddie all turn back to normal. And they all embrace. We have a moment. A tender moment.
You noticed? Way to go. You're getting better.
And they ask Grandpa if he's okay. And he kind of ignores him and walks to his fridge and gets out his root beer.
His root beer. I think I might get something a little stronger.
Yep. He takes a big swig and he says, one thing I never could stand about living in Santa Carla, all the damn vampires.
There you go.
The end.
So does that mean all the vampires are gone? Were they all one family?
I think so. And during the credits, we have People Are Strange by Echo and the Bunnymen again. And then we hear Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me. You know that song, Karen?
Mm-hmm.
By Elton John?
Yeah.
Did you hear it in the credits or did you stop watching?
I stopped watching.
So it's Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me, but it's covered by Roger Daltrey.
Oh, well, that would be worth listening to.
Yeah, it was interesting. So, Karen, anything you were pleasantly surprised by in this film? You've seen it before.
A very long time ago. I don't think I ever saw it again, but I knew I liked it. I don't know. I liked it. I thought it was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think it takes me back to my youth.
Yeah. When anything in particular you liked?
I liked the fashion of the vampires.
So, fashion. Let's talk about that.
The vampire I used to dress like that. And you can't anymore, but I wish you could, where you jingled while you walked and had fringe on your
that was more
leather jackets.
But they weren't really goth, were they, you think?
Or, no.
Right.
They were, just leather jackets and motorcycle boots. And
I've mentioned this to you before, and I think you maybe cut it out of an episode when we were recording. But I typically don't like to listen to other podcasts cover movies that we may or in the future cover, right?
I set you up for this.
But I did listen to one podcast. I'm not even going to allude to their name. They watched this movie and their comments were, especially from the female on the podcast, said she didn't really get the fashion.
Was she young?
Yes, I am assuming they are young.
Yeah. You have to have lived it, That was straight up my alley. Like, how you say a Hitchcock blonde is, your thing. And I don't really have a type, But anybody who dressed like that would have punched my buttons. I mean, you had to look good in it, but there's a coolness to it. To pull it off, you had to have a certain confidence, you know?
It's almost like John Bon Jovi used to wear those long leather dusters and shit. And
the skin tight jeans. And there's a confidence that you could, it's almost androgynous.
It's very, almost.
Almost.
But it's very hair metal, right?
Yes.
So that's okay. We've gotten to it now. It's hair metal.
Yeah. I just always thought it was cool. And I still do. I still love hair metal. And I'm not even embarrassed. I mean, I still dig it. 100%.
The hair metal I still like.
Well, yeah. I mean, over time, some have faded away, but there are still, that's my core.
There were a lot of posers or whatever out there that were more about the look than the music.
But they had the look. I just love the look. Like I said, I used to dress like that. I'm not even sorry. As you said, no shame in my game. Ripped jeans, leather jackets with fringe, the whole gig. And I was cool.
Maybe there are photos we could see.
You know, I don't know if there are. Even through graduate school, I dressed like that and I listened to that music and it was, let's just say, unique. There were not many.
I know there are no photos of me dressed like that.
Because you didn't dress like that?
Not to the extreme, no. I mean, I had a black leather jacket, like kind of a biker jacket kind of thing, but I was more metal than hair metal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, makes sense.
I still wore like colors and things like that, but yeah, I was more the metal than the hair metal at this point in my life, 1987.
I wore concert t-shirts every day to work in the lab. And when I was there at night, I would play the music really loud when I was there. You know, you'd be there all hours of the night. And everybody knew who was there.
Like when you say that, though, when you say that in the lab, I'm picturing you in like a morgue, but that's not where you were at all, is it?
Well, it's hard to say what, it was not a morgue.
No.
It was basically a very big chemistry lab. But I thought nothing of it. And once my sister...
I'm picturing you in Night Shift. Remember that movie?
Didn't see it.
No, okay.
Lab coat over your clothes. But my sister wouldn't come in because there's radioactivity symbols all over the place. She's like, I'm not walking in there. You get used to it. You know, you don't even see it anymore.
Well, there aren't any corpses, right?
No.
Okay. So anything else you really liked about the film other than the fashion and the hot boys?
Isn't that enough? I thought the makeup was exceptional for 1987. I think they looked like vampires. Like I thought cool vampires would look. The story was okay. But yeah, pretty much the hot boys and the fashion. What about you? Did you like the hot boys and the fashion?
Well, of course.
The casting was very good. They went for hot, young kids, and that's what they got. There was a little bit of clever writing with Lucy and Edgar and Allan and, you know, that kind of stuff. And
wow, so V. Neal was in that. She was a makeup artist. I don't know if you ever watched like Face Off or any of that stuff on Sci-Fi.
No.
So V. Neal is always a judge on that. Like she's like an Oscar-winning makeup artist, and she was a makeup artist on that film.
So are the makeup artists responsible for the special effects makeup or just the makeup on the people, like making Star look pretty?
Probably both.
Oh, okay.
She's credited as makeup artist.
Is there a special effects person?
She and one other person are makeup artists. There is a prosthetic effects person. There's a hairstylist.
Well, yeah.
A contact lens consultant. Right?
Well, yeah, again. And I think contact lenses back then were a lot more difficult to wear than they are now.
So the guy who did the prosthetic effects, apparently he won an Oscar too, or something, because the picture of him is him with an Oscar. I'm not sure it was this film, but
I don't think so.
No, nobody you would really know except for if you knew who V. Neal was. She also did I think she won the Oscar for Titanic, actually. So she won for Beetlejuice, Mrs. Doubtfire, and Ed Wood. Anything you were very disappointed in?
Well, I think they did a disservice to Sam. Which Corey is that?
Corey Haim.
Haim.
Absolutely.
He was not dressed well.
Nope.
But otherwise, I don't really have any complaints.
Yeah, that's probably my biggest as well. I feel so sorry for that kid.
Yeah, he was not treated well by Hollywood, apparently. That's a whole different podcast, but
I think I will say this. I think Jason Patrick is overlooked in this film. What say you?
I thought he was good.
Yeah, but it's all about Kiefer and the last, the other.
Sort of, but they say Michael
Jason
about
Patrick's
1,000 times.
He's a good looking kid. You know what I mean?
At one point I just wrote, God, these boys are good looking. I mean,
even Bill.
The whole film is just packed with good looking people.
I think Joel Schumacher knows a good looking boy when he sees one.
Well, or the casting director does. And none of them were weak links in the acting department. They all held their own. Some of the vamps had a lot fewer lines and less to do, but they still all played the roles well.
Joel Schumacher said he had one of the greatest casts in the world, talking about this film.
They were probably all young and unknown, too.
Marion Doherty apparently was the casting director.
I mean, this was early in all of these people's careers.
That's what they said. They were all young and relatively unknown. And apparently Jason Patrick helped even with the script once he was cast. I
really liked it.
So were we disappointed in again? Corey Haim's outfits?
Basically. I mean, I thought...
And his whole treatment, I would say this whole treatment in the film.
Yeah, but he did have a lot of lines.
But he could have been a much better... whatever,
I thought it was okay. He was a good little brother. He wouldn't stake his older brother.
I guess. Anything else? Likes, dislikes? What about the soundtrack?
There were some good things on it and some weird things on it. That's the 80s for you.
It is.
Very eclectic.
What about the cars? Did you like the Land Cruiser and the Ford Fairlane?
Not necessarily. They don't hold a candle to the Gull Wing.
Okay. What cocktail rating we giving this film? How many holy waters did you have to drink to get through this film?
I'd give it a 1.
A 1?
Or a 2. Not even, I thought it was good. I thought the camera work was good, the flying over the water, you believed the boardwalk, the amount of extras they had in there was crazy. It wasn't very bloody, but it still got the point across.
I'll give it a 2.
Okay, we'll give it a 2.
So comments on...
there were four male breasts in it. Come on. 4 natural male breasts.
Was 3 times that many in Friday the 13th. You didn't mention those.
Not the same.
I think we had Ned's. I think we had Kevin Bacon's. I think we had Steve Christie's.
They weren't oiled up with hip
and they
thrusts.
Didn't have ponytails and spandex.
Right.
Oh.
Spandex,
Kevin Bacon was wearing the Speedo.
Spandex I'm not a big fan of on men, but it's still okay, but not. Cocktail was good.
Yeah, I agree.
A little strong for me.
I thought it was fine. Perfect.
I'm a weenie, so I added a little more tonic water.
Did you in a rocks glass?
I did. I should have put it in a taller one and added a little more.
I thought it was fine. It's only 3 ounces of alcohol. 4 if you count the Cointreau that I used. If you use triple sec, then that's a lot less alcohol.
I didn't use triple sec. I used the same as you. Cointreau. Yeah.
Did you?
Well, yeah, because that was already open.
Cointreau. Yes.
Cointreau.
Yes, it's higher alcohol. So you added alcohol content by doing that. But it is a triple sec. So it's all good. And I believe I explained that in the YouTube video.
I should have watched that.
Right. Anything we learned?
Oh, we always learn about cars. We learned a little vampire lore. We learned about Batman number 14.
All right, Karen. Next movie
is your choice. What'd you pick?
Yes. I picked Body Double.
Because?
Well, it's a Brian De Palma film from 1984. And his birthday
is September 11th, a few days after Body Double goes live.
Okay, I have not seen Body Double.
You're in for a treat.
Am I?
Yes. I think it's one of Melanie Griffith's first films. And I do have a cocktail.
And what would that be?
The cocktail I have chosen is called Vodka Voyeur.
Wow. Is this really a horror movie?
It's a thriller. All right, so we're doing Body Double. The drink is the Vodka Voyeur.
And what do we need to gather for that?
So we need vodka,
And a voyeur?
strawberries, grapes, basil, sugar.
That's it?
That's it.
There's no like mixer?
Nope.
Oh,
Ice.
Lord. Okay.
Should be interesting.
That's for sure.
All right. Anybody you need to thank, Karen?
No, I think, just verse 13.
Yes. We need to thank verse 13 for letting us use their music in the podcast. Their info is linked in the notes.
Thank you, verse 13.
Anything else, Karen?
Just remember, please drink responsibly.
Yes.
If you like what you heard today, make sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Scary Spirits Podcast. If you have questions or comments, email us at scaryspiritspodcast@gmail.com. Check out our website at scaryspirits.com. You can find us on YouTube at Scary Spirits Podcast. And if you want to wear what all the cool kids are wearing, we have a merch link right on our website. Also, if you are looking for the recipes for our themed drinks, you'll find all of them in the recipe den on our website. And remember, if you really want to help us out, leave us a 5-star review. As always, thanks for listening.